Because you know.
And so joining us in the booth is a special guest, and please don't take this the wrong way, Maria, but I'm really unhappy to have you here.
Me too.
You
much
want her
rather
out there.
Exactly. It feels so strange. I guess this is what it looks like.
This is what it looks like.
No,
We're used to watching
I might be
you.
here in 10 years.
How difficult was it coming here today and not playing?
Strange, but I know it was great to get out there, you know, be with all the past champions and, you know, mingle around. We're kind of like back in the school days, you know, they're trying to put us in line, and we're like, no.
What did it feel like for you? Because you're 21 years old to be with so many of the greats of the game.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, I was, you know, when you're walking out, you just get chills, you know, to see so many people around you and to know, I mean, you just won one US Open, and most of them won so many more than one. So it's a little strange, but it was amazing.
All right, tell us what's up with the shoulder.
Yeah. What is not? Well, in Indian Wells this year, I felt like I had tweaked it again, and you know, I took an MRI in April, and they said that my inflammation had come back, and that I basically needed to treat it as inflammation, which I did, and you know, came back playing, and I was still playing with pain for majority of the time. Then while I'm, you know, sleeping and doing everyday activities, I'm still feeling it, which is very awkward, especially for inflammation, as Tracy you probably know. So, you know, went to Montreal, and as I was playing the match, it was just getting worse, and worse, and I knew that there was something more to it than just inflammation. So, took an MRI, and they saw tears, and 2 minor tears in my rotator cuff.
And Dr. Alchek, who checked it out, meant that when he saw that you actually had a tear back in April, he looked at your old MRI.
Yes, they misdiagnosed my MRI back in April. So that was a little frustrating to find out, because they could have taken care of this, you know, such a long time ago. Would have missed the Olympics and the US Open. So, but, you know.
No surgery.
No,
right?
no, I don't. They believe that I can get over this without surgery, which is great news. But, you know, it's a long process. You're playing with a tear for such a long time. But
now you're going to spend time out in Scottsdale area for a couple, 2 or 3 months rehabbing?
I am. I've already been there for 2.5 weeks, and had to come to New York to do some of my arrangements that I already had planned, you know, a while back. So I came here with my physical therapist, you know, every morning, 3 to 4 hours a day of physical therapy, then, you know, do all my things that I have to do, and then I'm back to Arizona tomorrow. So
this year, Maria, and I assume there's never a good time to be hurt, but this has to be particularly frustrating, the way you played in Australia, the way to start the year like that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I had a great start to the year. I was playing some of my best tennis that I've ever played in my career, and to kind of to go from a really high to a low where you're not playing and not picking up a tennis racket is a little bit strange, but it's one of those things where you know, it all comes down to perspective, and you know, seeing how you're able. I mean, last year I was in a similar situation. I obviously just had inflammation. I didn't have a tear in my shoulder, but this year it's a little bit worse where I can't play for a longer period of time. But you know, I was able to come back through it from last year, and you know, come strong in the beginning of the year. So, you know, if I'm able to do it once, then I'm sure capable of doing it again.
So Tracy, what do you think? Should we give Maria a little audition here?
Sure.
Okay, handicap the field for us, Maria. What do you think?
The whole field. I like that.
Oh, that's so tough. You know, it's so interesting. I was at an event the other day, and they asked me what I thought about the draw. And I was like, the draw came out. What day is it?
She didn't care about the draw. She wasn't in it.
I was, exactly. That's, you know, and that must be the way you feel as well. It's that similar thing. You're not in the draw, and you know, you're not one of the people that can win the tournament. So, you know, when you're asked about rankings or what you think about who's going to win, it doesn't really matter.
I will say, though, the way that ranking, that #1 ranking, has been like a ping pong ball bouncing back and forth, that's got to be harder for you. Because I said after Justine Enna retired, I thought that you were the one person who had enough experience, enough Grand Slams under your belt to really be able to handle the expectations and the pressure of being #1.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not about numbers. It's about how you feel, and if you're healthy, and you know, that's the most important thing. As an athlete, especially to tennis players, you can't go into any match doubting, you know, your ability to play a shot because you think you might get injured more.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at this and thinking, here's another story. A young woman, 16 years old, making her big debut, and you won Wimbledon at 17.
Yeah, it's strange. I get goosebumps on my skin when you say that.
Does that feel like a long time ago?
It does. You know what? It absolutely does. Absolutely. When I was at Wimbledon, they said it was 4 years. I was like, there's no way it's been so much longer than that.
So much has gone on.
I've never had a chance to ask you this because calling that match. I'll never forget. I've never saw Serena Williams pushed back before. When you hit the ball so beautifully that day, you had her backing up.
On her back foot.
Well, you know what's crazy is that I look back into that and I think of, you know, some girls that are in my position, and I watch some of the matches in their first, you know, Grand Slams, and I have a tape of my match when I won that, and the way it just shocks me, because every time I go on video and see that and the way I fought and just didn't really care what the situation was, it was just great.
We have set point here. And that'll be long. So Jelena Jankovic ends up taking the first set. 6-3. We're prime time at the Open on USA.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we're live prime time at the Open. We also have to remind you that when you see these player challenges, as always, those Chase reviews are brought to you by J.P. Morgan Chase, so always remember that. And we've had Jankovic serving to start the second set, and Maria Sharapova continuing to join us here in the booth.
Yes, I am. Great view you guys have here.
Isn't it nice? And the game looks easy up here, doesn't it?
Isn't it? It's not windy, the conditions are perfect. Court's playing pretty fast this year.
Tell me about playing Jankovic. What's it like to play Jelena?
Well, she gets so many balls back. I mean, there's not one ball that you can possibly get by her. So, you know, the mentality against her is, you know, just, I guess, force a little pace on her, because she at times gets caught in, you know, by that baseline there. But it's not easy. I mean, that's why she's number 2 in the world.